jaar de BDO Gold Cup wist te winnen. Relentless Ryan Joyce! En dan zijn tegenstander, een man die we allemaal wel kennen in Nederland. Een veteraan als het gaat om het spelen van dit soort toernooien. Zijn 53ste Eurotour gaat hij al spelen. En hij stond in 2014 in de finale van de Dutch Darts Masters. Dames en heren, de winnaar World Master van 2004. The King, Mervyn King!
Mervyn King enters the stage, enters the Dutch Darts Masters, taking on Ryan Joyce, a man who came through his European Tour debut after a slow start to defeat Michael Rosenauer, but only after the German had missed a handful of match darts in that game yesterday afternoon. Mervyn King looking to bounce back from defeat at this stage last weekend when he was knocked out by Nicholson. That won't be happening here. Nicholson not in the tournament, not in the commentary box either. Rob Malarkey joins me, Chris Murphy, instead.
Thank you very much indeed, Chris. Mervyn King playing in his 54th European Tour events. He's featured in every edition of the Dutch Darts Masters since its inaugural staging in 2012. Finalist 4 years ago, semi-finalist 2 years ago, and a quarter-finalist 3 years ago. He does tend to have a fairly deep run here.
Usually does have a fairly deep run somewhere along the line on the Euro Tour, once a year at least, doesn't he?
Yes, he certainly does. And when he made the when he made the semi-finals in 2016, he looked as though he was perhaps going to go one stage further at least. It wasn't to be. But as he said, didn't really happen for him at Sindelfingen last weekend, losing in the second round to Paul Nicholson.
Has won there before. That was his European Tour title.
But he has made the final day on 3 occasions this year. Third round in Austria, quarter-finals at the German Open in Saarbrücken, and also at the European Open in Leverkusen in our very first European Tour event of the year. Wouldn't put it past Mervyn to have a good weekend once again here today, but Ryan Joyce will have plenty to say about that. Ryan Joyce may well feel he's dodged something of a bullet, as he said, a handful of match starts for Rosenauer yesterday, 3 of them at double 12 when he led 5-4, and maybe, just maybe, having got over that particular hurdle, he may well build on that and think, okay, I'm still involved, let's see how I can go. He's making his European Tour debut here, relentless Ryan Joyce,
40.
Having switched to the PDC this year, immediately secured his tour card via the Q School Order of Merit. He had to wait until the final day just to see if he'd picked up enough points. But over the course of the 4 days, he was consistent enough.
Yeah, his floor form has been fantastic, and it was a sluggish start in that match against Michael Rosenauer.
93.
But he really managed to turn it around and seemed to settle later on in that first round tie. And hopefully he'll feel more comfortable in this match against Mervyn King.
100.
And it would be no surprise, really, for Ryan Joyce to beat a player of Mervyn's calibre, because he's beaten players of equal, or if not even better.
We just noticed, didn't we, when he made his way onto the stage, he just looks a little bit reserved and a bit shy, and maybe, you know, that's all part and parcel of making your European Tour debut. Feels, well, looks as though he perhaps didn't belong, but he certainly does belong. He's
100.
Involved here, made it through to round 2.
Well, he's played, you know, big stage games in a BDO before making the switch. He reached the final of the Denmark Masters last year, lost that to Glenn Durrant 6-4.
Yeah.
So
no disgrace.
Yeah, there was not really any reason for him to feel a little bit lost.
But he's
lost leg 1 as Mervyn King breaks the throw. And then makes Ryan Joyce wait some time.
Second leg Mervyn to throw first. Game on.
Not sure if Mervyn King just fancied a sip of water there, or if that was a little mind game employed there. I'm the boss.
Yeah, and I will dictate the tempo.
140.
All within the boundaries of the game. Nothing wrong with that. There is no time limit, I think I'm right in saying, in terms of...
Correct,
obviously
yeah.
you can't take the mickey and start hanging around for
40.
3 or 4 minutes at the back of the stage. But there isn't any immediate time restraint
No,
on
and
things
the
like that.
match official, George Noble, would hurry things along if he felt a word needed to be had.
100.
I think it's more as well if it's repetitive, isn't it? You see things. I think the one match where I did see George Noble get involved on the Euro Tour was Dyson
57.
Parodi, wasn't it, against Michael van Gerwen a couple of years ago. He was throwing his darts and leaving them in the board while he went round to celebrate. A tactic that actually Adrian Lewis employed not long after at the World Cup against MVG.
Yeah, it was almost stage diving, wasn't he, Parodi? That
100.
weekend it was...
You're 161.
Yeah, we'll see.
Run to the quarterfinals, I think he had.
We'll see none of that from Mervyn King. Likes to get on with his business in a workmanlike fashion. Old school.
129.
As for Ryan Joyce, well, it's starting a little bit like it did yesterday.
Took a while to get going, didn't he? But then eventually came good. He was 5-1 down against Michael Rosenauer, the veteran German.
Well, that might spark him into life, but it's rendered irrelevant as Mervyn King lands his favourite double.
Game on.
Talks about King's form on the European Tour this year. He was a semi-finalist on the Pro Tour a couple of months ago. He lost to the eventual champion that day, Ian White, but then he had back-to-back defeats in Barnsley last month, and then again back-to-back defeats in Wigan a couple of weeks ago, where he lost to Wayne Jones and Madas Razmat. But he is a European Tour champion,
60.
winning the European Grand Prix in 2014.
Yeah, I know Mervyn King was furious with himself having lost out to Paul Nicholson. It wasn't a classic, and Nicholson did well to get the job done there. A bit of a battle
60.
it was, and it seemed like the asset had more fight than Mervyn King. And Mervyn joined us in commentary the following day, and he said he was really annoyed with his own performance. Can't beat anyone playing like that, he said, in the PDC. He certainly upped it here.
Yeah, he's clearly a player who makes demands on himself and sets himself very high standards, and you do get a response from King.
57.
Given those back-to-back defeats in Wigan and Barnsley, you suspect it won't be too long before he turns things around on the Pro Tour circuit as well in the Players' Championship Series.
Wonderful stuff from Mervyn King. He's another player who's been in the wars. Mervyn King's always been in the wars, hasn't he? But he had a rather large abscess due to
85. Mervyn, you require 121.
a problem with a tooth. Mervyn King, a really swollen cheek. It's gone down a little bit. You can see there, the right-hand side. Well, Mervyn King didn't have to take out the 1-2-1 on the ball there, but why not?
Just to give him that further pep.
And it's 3-zip. Once again, he goes for a sip of water. Joyce waiting in the wings. If you look at the level of performance here, I know it's only 3 legs, but Mervyn King is playing better than we've seen anyone play so far this weekend.
97.
Just to further emphasise the point about Mervyn King and his runs of form as well, I do recall that when he made the semi-finals in Venray a couple of years ago, later that year in 2016, I think he went on to win just one more match on the European Tour, and that was against Christian Kist in Gibraltar, but that was it, you know. But still, that run to the semi-finals in Venray was enough to get him into the
95.
European Championship at the end of the year, and it's just as well he did, because apart from that, there was nothing else to write home about for Mervyn King.
57.
They also reached the final in 2017, didn't he? Lost out to Peter Wright. And there you see, look at that disparity in the averages.
Healthy stuff so far for Mervyn King.
81.
And the scoring has been up to scratch, but the important part is the finishing. Mervyn King, including that bullseye, has not missed a dart at a double. Having said that, neither has Ryan Joyce.
No.
140.
King just doing the right stuff at the right time as well here. He's got another healthy cushion to work with once again, albeit on his throw.
59.
But this
Moving
one,
88.
well, it's turning into a match to forget for Ryan Joyce, you feel here, especially if King can open up a 4-0 lead. I mean, we mentioned the 5-1 yesterday, but it really would be very, very difficult to see him turning this around.
64.
King looking at double 12 there, the number 12 seed. The winner of this to face either Daryl Gurney or Christo Reyes in the third round tomorrow. That should be some tie later on tonight.
123. Moving you require 24.
Well, missed 24. The first dart missed at double in the previous visits, but puts it right straight away. And Mervyn King is running away with this one.
Game on.
Well, he's totally in control. There's no doubt about that. Ryan Joyce, we said at the very start of the match, looked a little bit sheepish and a bit shy to be on stage, and
60.
It looks as though he didn't belong, and it may well be that this is a very short-lived encounter for him anyway.
Yeah, not the racers. Mervyn King not letting him be. And not letting up.
137.
110 average for Mervyn King here. 4-0 lead.
95.
It's vintage King, vintage Merv.
Yeah, people will say, well, he's playing an unseeded player, Ryan Joyce making his Euro debut, but he's still scoring very well indeed. He's playing the board here, not the man, and
98.
those stats more than stand up to scrutiny.
It's a new venue, this, a new town that we're visiting on the European Tour. And Mervyn King opted to come to the arena yesterday and get his practice in and get the feel of the place. It might prove to be a very wise ploy, that.
He likes to do that, Merv, doesn't he? Likes to get himself organised.
He likes to practice, doesn't he?
Likes to practice, get here early doors.
But
Gives
he's
himself
looking
plenty of time, doesn't he?
very, very comfortable, like he's playing in his own front room here.
99. Moving you require 126.
And the only man on that stage that's been relentless is the man throwing now. Ryan Joyce is going to need something
48.
from somewhere
Ryan, you require
to get anywhere in this match. Hasn't had a dart at a double yet.
Yeah, not really living up to his nickname by any stretch of the imagination here, but, well, tops he wants for a 147.
127.
And that's the first glimmer of light that he's seen all day today, Ryan Joyce.
Now then, Merv, can you put him back in his place? How dare he have a dart at a double?
38.
All right, give him
Ryan,
some more
you
then,
require
Merv.
20.
I'm not sure why he's looking at the scoreboard, but anyway. This for the first leg on the board for Ryan Joyce, and he'll be slightly happier about life right now, just breathing a little easier, and manages to force a smile as well for the crowd. Not too much in the way of celebration from relentless Ryan Joyce.
Yeah.
Mervyn King just detained on stage a little bit longer, you feel here. But you never know. He's a long way from a treble 20 left there with those first two darts. And
he came back from this kind of position yesterday, didn't he? Was it exactly this position yesterday?
well, yeah, it was 5-1 he was down actually, but
managed to reel off
100.
5 on the spin then. However, he wasn't taking on one of the most experienced and
100.
competent players in world darts. And Mervyn King is a man who's been saying he's not finished yet. He still thinks there is a big
94.
PDC major title in the locker. He said he wouldn't be playing if he didn't think that.
60.
yeah, just outside the top 20 in the world rankings, the order of merit, the overall order of merit, 15th on the Pro Tour order of merit, so he's, you know, still part of that elite, and it's a good attitude to have.
Talking of attitude, Joe Cullen coming up next, taking on Jermaine Waterman, and that'll be fast, as will Dave Chisnell against Cameron Menzies.
133.
Ian White against Kyle Anderson, rounding off this afternoon session.
Yeah, got the impression just hearing from Chizzy earlier today that he wasn't totally shall I say, comfortable with the idea of taking on Menzies. He's a bit of a box of frogs, isn't he, at times?
35.
Yeah, he's got
A difficult opponent, shall we say the least.
Trying to stay focused among the madness. Well, I think that was madness from Ryan Joyce going for the ball first. Was he going to try and fire free in?
Over you require 54.
Well, you just wonder what the thought process was there. Anyway, it's clear and cut here for Mervyn King, looking at Sops for a 5-1 lead. Well, now it is 5-1, and Joyce has to draw upon all the experience of yesterday here, starting with a holder's throw. Mervyn King just prowling around at the back of the stage there, waiting for his moment here.
Yeah, I think he's carrying out some repairs to his equipment there, Mervyn King. George Noble waiting patiently.
Very patiently.
When you're ready, Merv.
Might just have a quick glance over his shoulder just to see exactly where Merv is at here.
Here he is. Now, was it worth the wait?
Well, let's hope so.
It seems so.
140.
Looked like a couple of perfect darts from Mervyn King to fire in a maximum. There's been a couple in the match, one apiece.
45.
Mervyn still looking to post the highest average of the weekend so far, over 102. Only 45 on that occasion though, and Ryan Joyce, well, he's got a long way to go in this match, but he's a chance, he's still in this leg.
100.
And Mervyn King is a man who we've seen let leads slip in the past, isn't he?
There's been a real lull in the crowd as well. You can just sense that this is a match that they're finding, I think, just a little bit difficult to get embroiled in here.
42.
With Mervyn King in apparently such control.
Feeling like it was almost over before it started.
93.
Well, Joyce has a cushion here. It would be a holder throw, but it would be another step in the right direction. But Mervyn King looking to respond here.
138. Right, you require 123.
1, 2, 3. Which route is he going to go this time? On the right route.
66 away. Well, he's found the treble as well.
105.
Well, it's another opportunity. He missed Sops for that 147 check out. He's missed double 9 there.
I think all the stopping and checking kind of knocked him out of his stride in the end there. He
can't do him any favours. Cannot do him any favours whatsoever.
Right, you require 18.
Decides to split.
Well, he's a long way off. He was closer to double 11 there, but he has found double 8 with his third dart, and it's 5-2.
Anything Mervyn to throw first. Game on.
Well, this will be a nuisance for Mervyn King. Feel he should have dispatched of Ryan Joyce already in this match.
140.
To slam the door shut here.
$60.
But you don't want an irritant to become a real pain, do you? And Ryan Joyce, we know, is capable of producing much, much better than he has in this match. And it could come at any time, like we saw yesterday.
I'd like to know what Joyce is thinking. He keeps on almost giggling to himself every time. Well, not every time, but when he's at the back of the stage. It started off as a little wry smile as he sort of faced up to the fact he was getting fairly heavily beaten. But now it seems to have moved on from that stage. I don't know.
I can't offer any explanation, I'm afraid.
Raised eyebrows from Merv.
Well, it's interesting. Mervyn King's level of performance has dropped rapidly in this match. And if Ryan Joyce can raise his just a little, you can see Mervyn King just wiping his brow there, feeling a little hot and bothered.
Maybe, just maybe, he's beginning to draw some experience from yesterday.
And as you said earlier, he's a man that does, suffer in the conditions. It's a huge crowd. It will be hot in the arena.
Well, in Graz, it was absolutely baking. And when he lost to Joe Cullen, Joe said afterwards, I think pure and simply one of the reasons why I won is that I'm younger. And by that, I think he meant fitter as well. And he said Merv clearly struggled there, and he did. It was a very frank assessment of how the match panned out. Mervyn did visibly struggle, I think, in the heating round.
Ah, the royal flush.
26. Ryan, you require 84.
Well, 84 then for Ryan Joyce, and he does start getting a little bit nervy for Mervyn King. Ryan Joyce is going to come back. King can't go out.
I thought he'd found that treble 16 again then, but it was just outside the treble bed.
134.
Good response by Mervyn King, but it might be too little too late as far as this leg is concerned, and indeed it is. Ryan Joyce, 5-1 down, finds himself 5-3 down, and it's just getting a little bit interesting now, Chris.
Maybe that's what he's giggling about. Maybe he's that good that he's decided, I'm going to let my opponents take 5-1 leads, and then I'm going to go in for the kill.
Well, we wouldn't advise that normally, but maybe, just maybe, it could happen once
look
again.
At him, just
but
look at
this.
180.
Could yet be more joy for Joyce on the European Tour, on his debut on the European Tour. 5-1 down in match 1, turned it around. Is he about to do it to Mervyn King?
And the crowd are just sensing that, you can just tell by their reaction that something special could happen here, because it's 6 perfect darts for Ryan Joyce, and the crowd is definitely involved now.
Well, this would be absolutely bonkers.
140.
Come right out of a clear blue sky.
Ryan 141.
So then Ryan Joyce, 6 perfect darts already, and that was the end of that particular attempt.
93.
Holy grail that is the 9-darter on the European Tour. Chris, what do you make of all that? He's still in great shape here as far as this leg is concerned. Let's not lose sight of that.
I'll tell you what, you were saying a few moments ago you want to know what Ryan Joyce was thinking. I'm wondering what Mervyn King must be thinking right now.
Well,
because he had a vice-like grip on this contest, and somehow he's let it go.
Yeah, you can see him perspiring, sweating above the top lip there, and feeling the heat in more ways than one. Here is Mervyn King. Ryan Joyce for another leg on the board, looking at double 4, and very perilously close to the double 13 bed, but it finds its way through. And Ryan Joyce is now 5-4 down. This is just coming up to simmering point now, very, very nicely indeed.
Well, you think Mervyn King has got to get the job done here, because if this goes to a last leg decider, the way the match has gone, be very, very difficult for Mervyn King to win it from there. And this is a man who has squandered leads in the past. He's got a habit of doing this on much bigger occasions than this one. The World Grand Prix final against Michael van Gerwen, the Masters final against James Wade. Mervyn King had handsome leads in both of those matches, but failed to get over the finish line. And he's looking flustered towards the end again here. And Ryan Joyce, has he got that killer instinct?
Well, King's only scored 101 with his first 6 darts, and Ryan Joyce needs to make the most of this, and so far he hasn't. King is getting away with this so far. Joyce had kicked off with back-to-back 180s in this one. It would have been very interesting indeed, but he's just dried up here a little bit.
134.
As King finds a little something extra there.
It was averaging 110, wasn't it, 4-0 up?
Yeah.
Mervyn King. Down to mid-90s now. However, still the favourite in this leg and indeed in the match. Yeah. Even more so. Here he comes again.
Yeah, kicking on nicely. And you feel Ryan Joyce has run out of lifelines here. Yeah, the trebles, the big numbers are drying up here for Ryan Joyce at just the worst possible time. And Mervyn King is now 86 points away from a victory that seemed very likely, then seemed a little bit questionable. Taking a big step over to the right-hand side of the hockey for this one.
54.
All to no avail, but he will be back.
Well, he got close, missed more darts at doubling that leg than he had in the match before that point. But he is going to get more, as you say. Ryan Joyce, expresses the fact that
56.
his race might be run here. Mervyn King, do that when you finished it, man.
Mervyn, you require 32.
Yes, he's towelled himself down here.
Well, I'm not sure this will help because the crowd are getting involved now. But he always hits double 16. And if he doesn't, he hits double 8. And if he doesn't, he hits double 4. Mervyn!
24.
It is just as well, Merv, that Ryan Joyce is still adrift here on 220. He's still out at sea, but if he keeps on chipping away, I think that's just below the wire. That's definitely in the bed, and that's in the bed as well. And all of a sudden,
all in the bed. And Mervyn can't put it to bed, but he can now. And in the end, by hook or by crook, Mervyn King finishes off Ryan Joyce. It should have been and could have been a much more handsome victory for the King, but in the end it matters not. Ryan Joyce has had a very interesting, very dramatic first appearance on the European Tour, but he couldn't complete the comeback for the second day in a row, and it's Mervyn King who moves through to round 2. We're going to hear from Mervyn in a few moments talking to Dan, and then we'll be back when Joe Cullen takes on Jermaine Watermena here at the Dutch Darts Masters.
Mervyn, congratulations. 4-0 up, averaging 110. There's only one winner of that game. It didn't quite work out that way, though, did it?
Never does when I'm playing, does it?
What is going through your head in the latter stages when Ryan started playing a lot better, you just can't seem to find the trebles as much?
Just go back to what you started with, really. And that's what I've done. It took a while to get back there, but we got there and crossed the line just. Whether I crawled over it, fell over it, or whatever you want to say, we got over it just.
This is an important win for you, isn't it? Because you do have an eye on the match play, and I know that you have been really, really keen just to get past this stage of a Euro Tour.
You would not believe the pressure I'm under at the moment, seriously. And you guys out there think that this game is easy. Really? Come and have a part of my life.
There's an offer for you, Zvola. Mervyn King is safely through. Oh, no. He wants more.
Please, guys, thank you for the support today, and thanks for supporting Ryan. No, seriously, the guy's a great player. Ryan's a great player. He showed that by putting himself up for a 9-darter there. He showed it coming back in the game before. I didn't want to play him. I got over it. Thanks for the support. Just enjoy the darts for the rest of the weekend. Cheers, guys. Thank you.
The King's speech. We continue here at the Dutch Darts Masters with the Netherlands' own, the machine gun, Jermaine Watermena.